When your children don't respect you, do this instead. 7. Powerful ways to regain respect, senior. A message from the heart. My dear friends, peace be with you. I know why you are here. You are tired, frustrated, and maybe even heartbroken. You have given your children everything, your love, your sacrifice, your time, and yet, somewhere along the way, they stopped listening. The respect that once existed between you has faded, and now, instead of conversations, you face resistance. Instead of gratitude, you receive defiance. Instead of love, you sometimes feel like a stranger in your own home. You are not alone. I have spoken to many parents, good, loving parents, who feel lost in their own families. They ask me, Father, what did I do wrong? Why don't my children respect me anymore? And I tell them what I will tell you today. This is not the end of the story. Respect can be restored. Relationships can be healed, and it starts with you. Respect is not something you can demand. It is something that is nurtured, something that grows when the soil is right. The good news is that no matter how far things have drifted, you can rebuild that foundation. Today, I will walk you through 7 powerful ways, not just strategies, but truths that will help you regain the respect of your children, and more importantly, restore the love and trust that should exist between you. So stay with me. Listen closely. Because by the time we reach the end of this journey together, I promise you will have the wisdom and the strength to take the first step toward change. 1. Lead with love, not with control. The first mistake many parents make, often out of love, is trying to control their children instead of leading them with love. But let me ask you, does our Heavenly Father force us to obey Him? No. He guides us, teaches us, and loves us unconditionally. But He gives us the freedom to choose. And when we truly feel His love, we want to follow Him. Many parents think that if they just set stricter rules, enforce harsher punishments, or demand obedience, their children will respect them. But respect is not born from fear. It is born from love, trust, and admiration. Control may force compliance, but it will never build respect. I remember a mother who came to me in tears, telling me how her teenage son had become distant and rebellious. She had always been strict, expecting obedience without question, setting high academic and behavioral expectations, and punishing harshly when he failed. But instead of respect, her son had grown resentful, avoiding conversations and rejecting her authority altogether. What did I tell her? I told her to stop focusing on control and start focusing on connection. Instead of demanding, she needed to start listening. Instead of punishing, she needed to start guiding. Instead of expecting perfection, she needed to show grace. And slowly, through patience and love, she saw a change, not overnight, but over time. Her son began to open up, trust her again, and eventually, respect was restored. So if you find yourself in this struggle, ask yourself, am I leading with love? Take time to listen. Validate their feelings. Guide them gently, with wisdom, not with force. Remember what the Bible tells us in 1 Corinthians 13:4-7. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Lead with love, and the respect will follow. 2. Be the example. They need children learn not from what we say, but from what we do. If we want respect, we must first be worthy of respect. Think about Jesus. His disciples followed him not because he demanded it, but because his life was an example of goodness, wisdom, and integrity. He didn't say, respect me because I am the Son of God. No, he showed them love, sacrifice, and righteousness, and they respected him because of his actions. Likewise, parents must be the example their children need. If you expect honesty, but you lie, they will lie. If you expect kindness, but you yell and criticize, they will do the same. If you expect respect, but you don't respect them or others, they will not respect you. I once counseled a father who was struggling to gain the respect of his teenage daughter. He complained that she was always on her phone, never listened, and had an attitude. But when I asked him how he treated her, he admitted that he rarely looked up from his own phone when she spoke. He often dismissed her interests, criticized her choices, and rarely spent time with her. She was only mirroring what she saw in him. So I challenged him to change, not by lecturing her, but by changing himself. He started giving her his full attention, showing genuine interest in her life, and speaking to her with the same respect he wanted in return. And slowly, things changed. She began opening up, listening more, and, in time, showing him the respect he longed for. Titus 2:7-8 tells us, "In everything set them an example by doing what is good. In your teaching show integrity, seriousness, and soundness of speech that cannot be condemned. Your children are watching you." The way you speak, the way you treat them, the way you live your life, it all shapes how they see you. If you want respect, be the example of respect. Live a life that is worthy of admiration, and they will naturally follow. 3. Set boundaries with grace and strength. Boundaries are not about control, they are about security and guidance. Children, no matter their age, need structure. They may resist rules at times, but deep down, they need to know that someone cares enough to guide them. Imagine a shepherd who lets his sheep wander freely without any direction. At first, it may seem like freedom, but eventually, they will get lost. By the time they realize they need help, it may be too late. Boundaries provide safety, not restrictions. Many parents feel guilty about setting rules because they want to be their child's friend rather than an authority figure. But let me remind you, God sets boundaries for us not to control us, but to protect us. He lovingly corrects us when we go astray because He desires the best for us. In Proverbs 22:6, we are reminded, "Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it." But boundaries must be enforced with love. If they are too harsh, they create fear and resentment. If they are too lenient, they create confusion and chaos. The key is balance, setting clear expectations while also being patient and understanding. A mother once came to me frustrated that her teenage daughter never respected her curfew. She would ground her daughter, take away privileges, and lecture her, but nothing seemed to work. I asked her, "Does your daughter understand why the curfew exists? Have you ever explained that it's not about control but about love and safety?" She hadn't. So, the next time, instead of just punishing her daughter, she sat down and explained, "I give you a curfew because I love you. I want to know you're safe. My rules are here to protect you, not to restrict you." That simple shift in approach changed everything. The daughter still pushed boundaries at times, but now she understood that they came from love, not control. Boundaries work best when they are clear, consistent, and explained with love. When your child knows that the rules you set come from a place of care, respect will follow. 4. Speak life. The words we choose. Matter words are powerful. They can either build up or tear down. A single harsh word can wound deeply, while a single word of encouragement can heal and inspire. Think about the words you use with your children. Do they hear more criticism than encouragement? More demands than affirmations? The words we choose shape how our children see themselves and how they see us. In Ephesians 4:29, we are reminded, "Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen." I once counseled a father who constantly criticized his teenage son. He would say things like, "You never do anything right," or "Why can't you be more responsible?" Over time, the boy stopped trying to meet his father's expectations altogether. Why? Because he had begun to believe those words about himself. I told the father, "Your words are shaping him. If you want respect, start by speaking life into him." Instead of focusing only on what his son did wrong, he began pointing out what he did right. He encouraged him instead of tearing him down, and soon, their relationship transformed. This does not mean we should never correct our children, but correction should be done in love. Instead of saying, "You're lazy," say, "I know you have great potential, and I believe in you." Instead of, "You never listen," say, "I really value our conversations, and I want us to understand each other." If you want respect, speak words that uplift, guide, and encourage. Let your words be filled with wisdom, not anger. And above all, speak to them with the same respect you desire from them. 5. Be present and invest in your relationship. One of the most overlooked reasons children lose respect for their parents is emotional distance. Respect is built through connection, and connection requires presence. Think about Jesus and his disciples. He didn't just teach them and then disappear. He walked with them, ate with them, laughed with them, and shared in their struggles. He was present in their lives. And because of that, they followed him, not out of fear, but out of love and deep respect. As parents, we must ask ourselves, are we truly present in our children's lives, or are we physically there but emotionally absent? I once spoke to a father who was heartbroken because his teenage son didn't talk to him anymore. He felt disrespected and ignored. When I asked him how much quality time he spent with his son, he admitted, "Honestly, I'm always busy with work. When I'm home, I'm either on my phone or watching TV." His son had learned that his father wasn't interested in his world, so he stopped sharing it. Respect is a two-way street. If we want our children to respect us, we must show them that they matter. Here's what I advised him to do. Be intentional with time. Even just 15 minutes of undivided attention can rebuild connection. Put away distractions. No phones, no screens, just real conversation. Find common interests. Watch a show together, play a game, or cook a meal. Listen more than you speak. Sometimes, all they want is to be heard. He followed this advice, and within weeks, he saw a difference. His son started opening up again, sharing about school, friends, and life. And with that renewed connection, respect followed. Being present doesn't mean you need to spend hours together every day. It means making the moments you do have count. In Psalm 127:3, we are reminded, "Children are a heritage from the Lord, offspring a reward from Him." Treat them as the gifts they are. Give them your time, and they will give you their respect. 6. Seek forgiveness and extend grace. This may be the hardest one, but if you want to regain your child's respect, sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is apologize. Yes, parents make mistakes too. We say things in anger. We are too harsh at times. We fail to listen. And when that happens, pride tells us to ignore it, but humility tells us to make it right. I have seen too many parents demand respect from their children without ever acknowledging their own faults. But true respect is built on mutual humility. When a parent can say, "I was wrong. I'm sorry," it teaches a child a lesson in strength, not weakness. A mother once came to me in tears, telling me how her daughter had completely shut her out. When I asked what happened, she admitted. I hurt her with my words. I called her selfish and ungrateful in a moment of anger. I didn't mean it, but I never took it back. And now she barely speaks to me. I told her, it's not too late. Go to her. Tell her you're sorry. Not to demand her respect, but because it's the right thing to do. She hesitated, but she did it. And when she did, her daughter broke down in tears, confessing how much those words had hurt. That moment of humility and honesty was the first step toward healing their relationship. In Colossians 3:13, we are reminded, bear with each other and forgive one another if any of you has a grievance against someone. Forgive as the Lord forgave you. Just as we seek God's grace, we must extend grace to our children. And sometimes, that starts with seeking their forgiveness. If you've hurt your child in any way, through harsh words, neglect, or unfair treatment, go to them. Apologize. Show them that even parents can learn and grow. In doing so, you teach them the true meaning of respect, honoring others through humility, love, and grace. 7. Pray and trust in God's timing. After everything we've discussed, the love, the example, the boundaries, the words, the time, and the humility, there is one more truth we must embrace. We cannot do this alone. There will be days when you feel like you've tried everything and nothing is working. Days when your child still pulls away, still speaks with defiance, still resists your guidance. And in those moments, you may feel helpless. But hear me when I say this. You are not alone, and your efforts are never wasted. As parents, we must do our part, but we must also trust God with the rest. Think about the story of the prodigal son, Luke 15:11-32. The father in that story loved his son deeply, yet he allowed him to make mistakes, to walk away, to learn hard lessons. But do you know what else he did? He waited. He prayed. And when his son finally returned, he didn't say, I told you so. He ran to him with open arms. Sometimes regaining your child's respect is not about what you do in the moment, but about what you do consistently over time. It's about planting seeds that may take years to grow. It's about loving them even when they don't show love back. It's about trusting that even if things are broken today, God is still at work. I once counseled a father whose teenage son had completely shut him out. The father had tried everything: talking, listening, apologizing, spending time. But nothing seemed to work. He was ready to give up. I told him, don't stop. Keep showing love. Keep setting the example. And most importantly, keep praying. So he did. He started praying for his son every single day. He prayed for his heart to soften, for their relationship to heal, for God to move in his son's life. And do you know what happened? Nothing. For months. But then, one night, his son knocked on his door and said, Dad, can we talk? That conversation led to healing. It didn't happen overnight, but because that father stayed faithful, because he didn't let frustration turn into anger, because he trusted in God's timing, the relationship was restored. Philippians 4:6-7 reminds us, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. So if you feel like you're failing, keep going. If you feel like your child will never respect you again, keep believing. If you feel like nothing is working, keep praying. Because respect, love, and healing take time, and God is always at work, even when we can't see it. Conclusion. A final blessing. My dear friends, I know that parenting is not easy. I know the pain of feeling disrespected by the very children you love so deeply, but I want you to remember this. Respect is not lost forever. Love is never wasted. And healing is always possible. If you take just one thing from everything we have discussed, let it be this. Change starts with you. You cannot force your children to respect you. But you can lead with love. You cannot demand their admiration, but you can be the example they need. You cannot control their choices, but you can set boundaries with grace. You cannot erase past mistakes, but you can speak words of life, seek forgiveness, and offer grace. You cannot change their hearts overnight, but you can be present, invest in your relationship, and trust in God's timing. And most importantly, you are not alone. I encourage you today, right now, to pray for your family. Ask God for wisdom, for patience, for strength. Ask Him to soften hearts, to heal wounds, to restore respect where it has been lost, and trust that He is working, even when you cannot see it. I leave you with this final blessing from Numbers 6:24-26. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make His face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn His face toward you and give you peace. Amen. Go in peace, my dear friends. Keep loving, keep leading. And never stop believing in the power of transformation, because with God, nothing is impossible. Final call to engagement. If this message touched your heart, share your thoughts in the comments. Like this video to encourage other parents who need hope. Subscribe for more faith-based wisdom on family and relationships. Join our community of parents striving to raise children with love and respect. You are not alone. And I will be praying for you. God bless you.